Welcome to On Air with Kash. Our guest today is an actor, rapper, songwriter, producer, and director. He's appeared on the hit series Pair of Kings and iCarly. He starred in the feature film The Samuel Project. His new series Ghetto Busters just premiered at the Standalone Film Festival in Hollywood. His new album R-Type with his musical group The Ochoa Boys is available now. Please welcome Ryan Ochoa.
Wow, thank you so much for that incredible intro. That was probably one of the top 5 best intros I've ever gotten. Thank you so much.
I do what I can. Ryan, it's an honor to have you on officially. I remember you back in the iCarly days, back on Disney, and one of your first feature films was A Christmas Carol with Jim Carrey.
Yes, it was. First of all, I actually just want to thank you for having me on your show. I know we've been planning this for a long time, so it means a lot. But yeah, I've been in the industry since I was a little boy, and I always tell people, as long as it is still fun, keep doing it. When it's not fun anymore, it's time to hang up the cleats or whatever. I've heard that quote many times actually said to me as well. And the truth is that's what I live by. I mean, it's literally, it gets more fun by the day. I would say, I still face a lot of rejection. As I get older, the competition is bigger in all aspects of my life and every career path, like you said, that I've chosen / taken. But it's the small wins. And I always, tell my Ryan family that you got to celebrate the small wins. And through those small wins and those small victories, it just keeps me going to get to that next goal, that next step, that next positive momentum. And again, like you said, the Ghetto Busters premiere, it started off as a small passion project for the creators and the cast originally. And then once I came aboard, they got a budget, and just the other day we actually had a massive premiere at the TCL theater in Hollywood. And when I was there, it's like, wow, this is why you do it.
We missed each other at the Standalone Film Festival. I was there the day before for the elevator. I was interviewing the director and one of the stars who's a good friend of mine. So I was at that premiere. And then when I saw the press release, I'm interviewing this guy next week. So yes, all right.
It worked out perfect. Now we have something that we get to talk about. What a great event that they put together, Standalone. They follow me on Instagram, so I was looking through their stuff, and to celebrate projects that, again, going back to Ghetto Busters, was just a small, project, but they actually are recognizing it. Those are the events that I want to be a part of.
You and I are alike in that respect as well, because I've been involved with Film Fest LA Live, and I'm a really big believer in the local film festivals. I've also been involved with Dances with Films, Holly Shorts, and so many of these local festivals, I've met so many other artists and people that I've ended up collaborating with. And I mean, I love that we get to feature our work, celebrate the work that we've done. But again, I mean, even when people have asked me questions about, getting into the industry, I'm like, go to film festivals, support artists. And then so many times if I go to someone's screening and I really enjoy what you did, and we have a conversation, and then we end up working on something together down the road.
Absolutely. And I actually have a great story about that, of what you just said, is going to the film festivals. So you mentioned in the pre-show, you said that you saw my film, The Samuel Project. That film took me all over the world. The movie came out 3 years ago, but it's still making its rounds at film festivals, believe it or not. It's a special film, and I think that's why. I went to a lot of film festivals and cinema societies with that movie, traveling with the film, doing Q&As, and I've met a lot of filmmakers, writers, producers, directors. And the reason I bring it up is I'm actually attached to a few films right now. I met these filmmakers because of film festivals and going, and even though I was there for the Samuel Project, I met a lot of filmmakers. I networked a lot. Thanks to the movie, obviously, I always got to, pay respect to the Samuel Project. I wouldn't have been there if it wasn't for that movie. But I met a lot of people, and we ended up talking, collaborating. I've read a lot of scripts since. Networking is so important. And yes, I 100% agree with you.
I know we've actually run in similar circles, and we've had, I've seen you around LA. We've been to similar events, and
I'm everywhere.
You're everywhere. I know. It's just, and I know we've actually been on some of the same shows or worked with us. I know you did Hit the Floor. One of my good friends is Catherine Bayless. We had done a pilot together.
Oh,
I know
wow.
you did an episode of Astrid Clover. I went to Allison invited me to one of her screenings. And then 2 days later, she called me to be a cop on one of her episodes. And I'm with you on that, where
Those are the homies.
Yes, exactly. And I'm like, geez, we've worked with the same people. And
Yeah.
I think we share the same philosophy.
I just love what I do. I have a lot of fun going back to Allison and Dylan and them. I obviously met them during my Disney days, but they're like me. They picked up a camera and they enjoy the process. So I think we've connected in that aspect. I worked with Logan, who was on Parrot King.
She's amazing.
Logan was on Parrot King. She played Rebecca. So again, it's a big industry, but a small one, small world. And Hollywood is actually not that big if you think about it. Everybody knows each other. Everybody loves working with each other. And a lot of the projects that I do now, I call my friends to be a part of. So even with, my brothers and I, our group in our music videos, when we first started, we had all of young Hollywood in our music videos playing characters. And that's the fun. That's more than fun. That's the beauty of what we do, is we have that, the access, and we have the friends, and we all share the same passion to do that. So why not?
You and I are so much alike. I know I keep saying that, but that is exactly my philosophy. And you were very successful at a young age. You booked a Disney show, you booked a Nickelodeon show, and then you went right into feature films with some of the top talent in the industry. You do music, you rap, you have your band with your brothers. And we started talking about the Samuel Project. There were just so many things about it, just the story. I felt like the character that you played, Eli, he reminded me of myself when I was a kid, and a lot of people that I got along with. We just had this artistic drive. Because your character, Eli, it's not until your dad's encouraging you to do well in school, but you're really more into art. And then really when your teacher gives you this project and you find out more about your grandfather, and you're like, grandfather, this is a story that needs to be told. And it was just really fascinating. I just love the relationship that you and
Dude, you're giving me goosebumps, man.
No,
honestly,
really, and
you
also,
really are, man. I gotta say, I'm getting goosebumps hearing you talk about it. Oh,
I just thought it was a beautiful story, and it reminded me a lot of my grandfather. And the thing too is my dad's Armenian, and I know Ken Davidian, so it was just even having that Armenian representation, and then like the Armenian story in there was like that meant something to me. There's so many festivals that are still looking at it; it's still circulating, and I think it's just so relevant. I just commend you for making this.
Well, thank you. I'm definitely honored to be a part of that movie. But there was so much there. That was a very heavy question / comment. I actually want to go back to, this is a big part of maybe people know me. I've talked about it a few times. But while we were doing the Samuel Project promo tour, press tour, promo tour, I was on the Build series with Hal Linden. And Build, I don't want to, say any false information, but I think they're affiliated with Yahoo somehow. Well, Yahoo ended up picking up an article of a statement that I said from how going from iCarly to the Samuel Project, and how casting directors and filmmakers in general didn't take the Disney kid serious to audition for more mature, more, dramatic roles. But the reason I brought that up is because you said that I actually, I had a very successful, younger years, but I actually did films before I was on iCarly and Pair of Kings. Well, I did a few Disney shows during the time, but I actually did feature films before. Christmas Carol was before iCarly and Disney. I did big films before the roles that some people may know. The Perfect Game was before. I did feature films. Then I went into the I don't even know how to explain the young Hollywood Disney, days, years. And then I made another transition back, and then it really wasn't until the Samuel Project. I consider that like the second transition for me, because it's so different from what people actually remember me from. And that's why that movie also hits home for me just as an actor. That movie just really has such an impact in my life because again, it was like a big transition for me. And now we go into the story. I put so much into that character Eli because it really was all of that in one. This young kid, he loves art so much. That's all he cares about is becoming an artist, being a world-renowned artist. And I feel like that was me. That was Ryan. And I think I've done many interviews about that, but it really was Ryan telling people this is what I want. I'm an artist. I'm an actor. I love telling stories. I love being in front of the camera. I love being behind the camera. That passion for Eli telling that story about his grandfather was truly just Ryan showing the world that this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I guess one of the last things I want to say about what you talked about with the, the Armenian, Mateo is one of my Mateo is one of my really good friends, and Moises, the whole family, and Ken Davidian. He was so passionate about speaking about the Armenian genocide. But again, the reason I brought all of this up and the Holocaust in the movie, I don't know if you know this, but we only say Holocaust one time. We didn't want people, it's not a Holocaust movie. And I think after you watch it, you can see that. Probably everybody asks, what did you want people to take away from it? You take away whatever you want. I took away my own messages from it, just in regards of Eli's passion about art. That's something that really hit home with me. That was like my connection to the character. The relationship with the dad, with the grandfather, with the friend. There's so many outlets that somebody connected in one way or another.
And I feel it especially in your performance, it definitely shows. And it's interesting, you're right, there are so many different relations, and I like how the characters connect. But even there was a moment because there's just so many little things. Like I am a big Guns N' Roses fan too, and I had a GNR poster. I went through like different phases as a teenager. So there was definitely a period I grew my hair out and would like wear Guns N' Roses shirts. But I do feel when I was watching it, there was a moment where I felt just teenagers go through this in general, where part of me was like Eli and part of me was like Kasim, where it was like, I didn't have we all have those days where we're in a slump. I'm not feeling motivated, but I just I remembered seeing some of those scenes. I'm like, there were moments in my life I wish there was just a little bit more Eli and a little less Kasim, but it was just. And then I've had relationships like that with other people where I was more like Kasim or Eli, but now I feel like I'm more like an Eli kind of a character, and especially when I look at the relationships that I would later on have with my grandfather. As I got older, I was just really more interested in their stories. Like they were like I felt like my grandparents, like they were. I think it's that generation. They're a lot more private, and then when they need, their grandchildren want to know more about like their stories. And I mean, they had fascinating lives. Like both my grandfathers were World War II veterans and start lives after the Great Depression, raise families. It's just when you really see what just making it in America and sustaining a life. You're like, wow, you lived 95 years and you look at how you accomplished. So I feel like just that story, just the respect that Eli and his grandfather have, and just the fact that, I mean, without giving anything away, it just felt like the family in that movie was, distant. Everyone was like, okay, I'm going to do this, you do that. But I felt like the project and everyone got united at the very end. The family did.
Without giving too much away, like you said, the very end when everyone was united, it wasn't, I always have to bring it up. It wasn't a cheesy ending though. You know what I mean? Like hugs all around, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't that. In real life, it probably wouldn't be that. It was almost, to me, the unspoken. They appreciate each other a lot more.
No, well,
and I think that was more powerful. I remember when we all talked about that ending. I was really happy with it. It's something to take away. And another thing is, you mentioned your grandparents. My great grandma just turned 94 years old. And to be honest, I don't know if it was the movie or not, but I've always been very fascinated with both of my parents' family trees. Every time I'm around my great grandma, both sides of the family, doesn't matter. I'm always asking questions. I always want to know. Again, they've lived so much life. They have so many experiences. That's your history. That's your family history. That, hey, one day they're not going to be with us. One day we're not going to be here. And the more you know, the more you can pass on. That's how your legacy is going to live on. And it's crazy because that movie really opened up my eyes to that.
I have the same relationship with my grandmothers. My mom's mom, unfortunately, we lost her this past year, but she lived to 95. We had in just the last
So
2 years,
sorry.
especially. Oh, thank you. I mean, she had just lived such a full life, and we had so much time just the last 2 years where, we would she'd be over and we'd be like cooking dinner. I got her up and started dancing a few times. She would,
That's
she
amazing.
could still get her groove on, but oh man, there were just growing up with her, there were just so many fun stories and experiences that we had. My dad's mother's she lives here in LA as well too, and I still see her. She's 98 years old, and and her sister Florence Snyder. I mean, she was a publicist for the Dodgers. I mean, she had back in like
Wow.
the Sandy Koufax era. She has her legacy to tell too. So it's just fascinating, these stories, and then just what like you said, it's our history and our legacy.
You said Sandy Koufax. That's bringing back the perfect game memories right there.
Oh yeah.
Oh, before I forget, I mentioned the Guns N' Roses
Guns N'
thing. I have
Roses.
to
That was
say,
the thing I was gonna kick it off. We got to talk about Guns N' Roses.
last thing about that movie. Do you remember the scene when Eli and Kasim are walking right after they meet in the park?
You're on the skateboard. Eli's
on the skateboard,
Yes.
and I ride up to him while he's walking,
Yes.
and we end up talking about Slash. And
oh yeah.
well, Mark and Steve know, they're the director and producer. They know. I always have to bring it up because it was Mateo and my proud moment. In the script, originally, I wish I remembered, but Kasim wasn't wearing a Guns N' Roses shirt. He was wearing another group. They had to get permission from Interscope or any label to use the, whichever group. So we ended up getting Interscope, and they have Guns N' Roses. That's why we got the Appetite for Destruction. They have the Struts. That's why we had the opening song by them.
Yes. Okay.
One of my favorite songs now. And anyway, so we were able to use that. Oh, Eli has the poster in his room, and Kasim is wearing the shirt. So obviously that was like another unspoken connection that they liked. Teo and I were rehearsing lines one night, and the whole scene was different because we were talking about another group. We had the Slash reference, and then we ended up basically writing that whole Duff McKagan scene when I'm like, oh, Duff McKagan's the real star. It was like midnight, and we call Mark, the director, and we're like, so sorry if we woke you up. We just have to read this line to you, this scene. And he was like, guys, it's awesome. Keep rehearsing. We're shooting it tomorrow. It was so cool. We were so excited. But yeah, that whole Slash Duff McKagan scene, Mateo and I rewrote it super late because originally we didn't have, Kasim wasn't wearing the Guns N' Roses shirt.
That is okay. No, because I'm a big Guns N' Roses fan too. So I was actually going to ask you about that because it's not something you normally hear, and just like the dialogue, that comes from a Guns N' Roses fan. So I was going to ask you, was that just you two in the moment, just how you felt about the band?
Oh my gosh, yes. I mean, it's funny. There's so many connections. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Going back to the perfect game, my dad and I made a rap. Had a rap video, not a rap video like a rap video, but like a rap party video. We took, like, we had a lot of photos. It was a long film that we, many months of shooting, and we filmed in Mexico. Well, anyway, at the end of the movie, at the rap party, my dad and I put everything together, and one of the songs was Guns N' Roses. That was probably 10 years before Samuel Project. So I have definitely grown up with them. I love that. I was just listening, I think yesterday in the gym, I was just listening to.
Oh, it's still the best. Appetite's still the best workout. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, of course. Anyway, yeah, that was our 5-minute proud moment in that movie of the writing.
I loved it. I mean, just even the poster and the references, and he kind of looks like Slash with the whole.
Yeah, he does.
But yeah, no, because I never heard. It wasn't a conversation that you would just hear in a movie, and I'm like, no, these guys are like really fans, and that, I mean, I had a feeling that came from a very real place, that Duff reference.
And of course, everyone's gonna say Slash. You know what I mean? It was like, let's make this fun and different. You know what I mean?
Yes,
where, like you said, people actually know. Oh, of course they wrote Slash. You know what I mean? And again, the connection. Clifton Collins Jr., who's the lead actor in The Perfect Game, is really good friends with Slash. So I actually have a Slash, I have a guitar pick from him and oh yeah, I have a CD. I have a CD from him too. Yeah, I have a CD from him as well. He gave it to me for my birthday, a Slash signed CD. Yeah, that dialogue helped bring them together. That okay, this kid, Kasim was quiet, you know what I mean? So was Eli, but that dialogue really helped, Kasim like really break the ice. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And no, it's funny because I told you about that Martin movie. We were during break time. I had a friend and he kind of looked like he had like long hair like Slash. And I was wearing an appetite under my costume or the jersey. I was wearing an appetite. And then we start. So that was it. We were just kind of taking our lunch break. He's like, dude, you like Guns N' Roses, dude? Yeah. And so hung out afterwards, but we had a GNR bonding moment. And that year, I actually got to meet Slash and Duff right before one of their shows. And that was like a dream come true. I still had,
oh, that's awesome.
I was actually wearing a GNR shirt at the time. So I was like literally the guy who was wearing a shirt at the band he was going to go see, but it was, that was pretty epic. And I know Slash is cool. I did a reading with him a few years later for this cartoon, and it's really cool. He was just a down-to-earth guy. And I remember we did the reading, and then there was a guy, like people, of course, I'm sure he's got people who were like, oh yeah, Slash, want to come to this party or whatever. And so this guy was there like, hey, Slash, we're going to this show. You should come tonight. And he goes, well, actually, I got the carpool tomorrow. And he was like such a family man. Everyone felt like, oh my God, that's such a trip. And then and my oldest, I have an older cousin, and she actually got me into Guns N' Roses. I just remember being a kid, we were driving over Laurel Canyon, and she was listening to Paradise City, and I remembered hearing that song in a movie. And she was like, do you know who these guys are? This is Guns N' Roses. And then years later, she took me to see GNR at the House of Blues. That was my first time seeing Axl live. It was just one of those epic things. He played for 3 hours. We got to meet him after the show, and then we went to this house where and then there were just all these like kind of people from like Sebastian Bach was there. I'm like, dude, I'm like in the 80s, like seeing Guns N' Roses, and I got to go. I feel like I was cool for a minute because I got to go to the after party. It was so yeah, I know you and I could talk about just all these like just cool LA experiences and stories.
Oh yeah, of course.
Bands all day.
That's awesome, and it's all of those things that's come together. The sum of all of those, experiences that really push you to remind you to keep going. And look, now you're doing your own show.
This really started on Instagram. We were just doing Instagram lives because we didn't know what was really going to happen, and everyone was staying at home. And then as it evolved, we got the studio set up, and then this actually came from my, I was doing a lot of recording at home, and my dad was a music executive. My dad taught me about music, and he took me to so many concerts growing up, but it was like a big thing getting this from him for my birthday last year. And then I'm like, well, you know what, let's do a show, and that's what we'll call it. So it was, it was really kind of a symbolic moment as well.
It's cool. I love the Cash with the money sign.
Because cool. people didn't know it was, no, I'd have to say Cash with a K. So if I put the money, I started signing with the dollar sign. Like, okay, they get it now. And then I did it before Kesha though.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I know we're approaching 50 episodes, and it's been a ride. And it's just, what I love too about this is I just have so much respect for the people that I work with, and just artists in general, especially when I see someone's work and I get to have a conversation with them. I've really known you through your interviews and through your roles. I know we've crossed each other at certain times, but like to really like sit down and have, because I respect you and your work so much, to just really get inside your head and be like, let's talk about this movie that just really moved me. I just really dig your vibe and your philosophy, and we're the same in a lot of ways, because even there's this festival that I've been involved in for the last 3 years, and they give me this annual block where we just put a lot of our friends, whether it's short films, music videos, we're just always working with, and we're always supporting our friends. And then, so many times I'll go to someone's event or they support something that I do. And then, like I said, we work together on something. So I just love this journey we're all on.
That's cool, man. That's awesome.
I watch the music videos that you and the Ochoa boys make. The songs and the lyrics, they're very entertaining. The beats are incredible, and the visuals. What I like too is even it just gets back into our conversation about what you were saying about just as far as collaborating with people and being passionate about your work and our characters. The way that you talk about your family and the way that your family is. You and your dad, like you were saying, he's producing something, or he showed you about Guns N' Roses, he's taking you to the premieres. You guys, it's so inspirational to see this family unit that you have, and that you're all
my dad's DJ Ziggy Bass. He's my live DJ on Lit Nation. Every Wednesday I used to have Lit Nation, which is a live broadcast on TikTok, and every time I go live, my dad is my live DJ. Him and I did one live when I was filming Ghetto Busters. Actually, we were filming the show, so I wasn't here. So my dad took his portable mixer and DJ console, And he, we had a little live set up in my hotel room. I can't have it without my dad. You know what I mean? It's like, it became our thing together, Lit Nation, hosted by Ryan Ochoa, DJ, DJ Ziggy Bass. So that's something that, father son, dynamic that we share. My mom, I mean, I owe everything to my mom. I wouldn't be in this position. My mom was the one person that believed in me. My mom basically stood her ground and got in arguments with family members because they were like, your kids, they shouldn't be doing this. You know what I mean? My mom's like, no, I believe in them. I'm going to do everything I can for them. And that's why, to this day, I owe everything to my mom. I will do anything, to help her, to give thanks to her. And that's why my thing is I never want my mom to have to ever work again because of the sacrifices, the car drives, the hours and hours, the studying, the everything that she, did for me to be in this position right now. And look, and now I have you actually reaching out to interview me, like just that, like that alone is something that I don't take for granted, any interview that I can do, any, person that I can meet, like all of that wrapped up is all thanks to my mom at the end of the day. And I tell her that all the time. I wouldn't, go live on TikTok and 100,000 people throughout 2 hours come on to watch what I'm doing. Millions of people, look at my, social media. I wouldn't be in that position if my mom didn't believe in me. My mom didn't sacrifice her life for me. And then now it goes down to my brothers. Those are my best friends. I know no matter what, we get in arguments, we fight. We're family, you know what I mean, at the end of the day. But I know, aside from everything, those 3 guys will always have my back. They will always have my best interest. And that's it. I will always look to them and I'll know if I'm in the right, if I'm in the wrong, they'll tell me the truth. With that mindset, that's why our family's so tight, because we not only respect each other, we know that we got each other's backs. We want each other to succeed. We want each other to grow, to learn, to live life too as well. We only get one shot at this thing. So it's like, how do you really want to live it?
Well put. And I owe so much to my mother. I mean, we started the show together. She's the executive producer. I mean, she's been in the biz for so long. And what you said about just having discussions with family members, and my mom was the one who fought for me as well. And I owe so much to the support and love she's given me. And my goodness, I mean, Ryan, I mean, just talking to you, I mean, you just speak with such passion, you accomplish so much. This has just been such an honor and an inspiring interview. Just talking to you, I mean, I feel like, I really look inside and be like, this is a guy who knows what he's doing. He's very passionate about his work, and he really gives the proper credit to the right people.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you. I'm grateful for every opportunity. And I can honestly say I've had to fight for everything that comes my way, but I wouldn't want it any other way. Because I appreciate, and it's through those struggles that I've built myself and really found who I want to be and the person that I want to be. Because again, if I was just consumed with handed everything and didn't have to work for anything, I wouldn't know the struggle. I wouldn't know what it's like to be at the bottom, because at the bottom is really, that's your foundation, and it was during the lows and during the years of not working and fighting and loss, I was just going through so much where I really realized, like, okay, well, this is what it's like to be at the bottom. This is what it's like to, not have anything go your way. So when something does come your way, how are you going to handle it? Are you just going to be like, oh, I deserve it? No, absolutely not. Because it only takes one more time where you could be right back where you were. So again, I'm grateful for everything. And especially, and you brought up everybody, but I do want to give a shout out to, anybody that follows me, anybody part of the Ryanator Ochoanizer family. They've really helped me get to where I am today as well, because it's through their words, their stories, hearing everybody that supports us, their stories. The reason I say we're a family is because we really go through everything together. And if I didn't really care, that wouldn't come across, you know what I mean? And that's why I basically tell everybody, as long as you care, people will notice. You know what I mean? And that's what I do. I care about them. I care about listening. I care about you, you know, I care about this interview. You know what I mean? Like, as long as you care, people are going to notice. And that's what I've been living by. So there's my end of the interview wrap up. You know what I mean?
Dude, it's everything out of your mouth is just pure inspiration, my friend. I mean, Ryan, I just have to say, I just really appreciate your time, your commitment to your work, your generosity to the people that you work with. And you're right. If you didn't care, it wouldn't come across, but it comes across in everything that you do, that you love what you're doing and that you care. I mean, whether it's your role in the Samuel Project, whether it's your television and movie roles, whether it's your music, you just always, I feel it and I feel connected to what you do. And again, it's been a real pleasure talking to you today. And I'm pumped for your next venture, my friend.
I can't wait to talk again. I can't wait to see the interview as well. I can't
Yes.
wait to please share it with me so I could share it with the world as well. Cause I know everyone's going to love hearing, you know, you as well. You had some really solid points that I want my family to hear as well. So it was a pleasure.
It is an honor and you're welcome anytime, my friend. Thank you.
Lots coming soon, so get ready.
Lots coming soon. We're going to have everyone give it up for this guy, Ryan Ochoa. You know him from television, Disney, Nickelodeon. If you haven't already, you need to watch him on the Samuel Project, available on Amazon Prime and other digital platforms. Follow him and his brothers, the Ochoa Boys, on Spotify. Download their album, watch their music on YouTube, and tune in with him Wednesday nights on TikTok. Ryan, I can't thank you again for your time. I admire your passion, your dedication to your work, and please, you're always welcome, and I can't wait to dive into your next project with you.
I got to throw in dream, wish, believe. Those 3 words have changed my life, and a lot of people have it tattooed on their bodies, so they beat me to it, but those 3 words, everybody, I have to say it in every interview: dream, wish, believe. So hopefully you got that through the interview as well. By the way, Kash, you got to watch Save the Island. We didn't even talk about my filmmaking side, but we'll talk about that next time. But just so you got to watch Save the Island.
Save the Island.
Awesome, man.
Thank you, Ryan.
We'll chat soon.
Thank you so much for rocking out with me and Ryan Ochoa today. You are on air with Kash.